this computer. Hi everyone. So, what a fiasco we had this morning. Well, at noon, right? When I tried to do the Zoom call and internet access was so bad, my Zoom crashed about 5 times before I finally threw up my hands and said, "Okay, look, this is not going to happen. So I'm going to have to try another way to create this video to teach you guys." I really, really would have preferred to have you online with me so you could ask me questions as we go along. And as I discovered after, because I told you guys I was going to make a video of it, so I did a video of it, and that video is lengthy. I hadn't realized there were so many facets to Zoom that you need to know about when you're using it and how to set it up and things like that. It actually is not difficult. It's just there's a lot of things that you can do with it, which is great, and that's why the program is so good. But you're going to be forced if you want to watch it. It is going to be fairly long. It's over an hour and a half, and there are parts of it. If you are only a free, like if your account is a free account, there are parts of it that you won't have access to. Um, I'll try and point out a few of those along the way. Um, but it's well worth $15 a month if you're going to be teaching online, if you're going to be doing your workshops online. In actual fact, if you're doing workshops online, as you'll see, it'll be $55 a month to get access to the facilities for workshops. Again, well worth it. If you get 15 or 20 people online with you, and you can do you can publish your PowerPoint slides, and you can talk about them, and you can get interaction with the people who are watching. You can do it from the comfort of your home. You don't have to go out somewhere. You don't have to rent a place. You don't have to book a library. You don't have to worry about people not showing. People are going to show up, or at least it's easier for them to show up if they're doing it from home, I think. And I might be wrong, but if I can sit at home drinking a beer, eating some popcorn while I watch, that that's got me sold right there. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to break this up into little mini chunks, hopefully about 15 or 20 minutes each. Please, please watch to the end. And here's the thing. At the end, at the very last one, I'm going to give you a freebie. I'm going to give you a huge, huge discount on my services. Now, don't skip to the end. Follow through. Watch the videos. Don't cheat now. um, but, you know, because of all that you've been through trying to watch this and having it crash and all the hocus pocus that was going on, I just something. And really, you'll see it's going to be worth it. Please stay to the end. Right. So without further ado, we're going to get on with the program. I, just, I just shut down the the Zoom conference call that was supposed to show you how to use Zoom. And, as I tried to describe to you in between crashes, my internet access sucks. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's the only way I can think of it right now. But fortunately, we have other technology. So I am going to do a Zoom call with myself and I am going to record on my, I'm going to record my screen how to set up and how to use Zoom. So when your audience logs in, you want to do some, some housekeeping. First of all, just mention to them down at the bottom of their screen, especially if they're in full screen. If they're not in full screen mode, it's a little hard to find. But if they're in full screen mode, at the bottom of their screen, there will be a couple of buttons that they'll want to pay attention to. One of them is the mute button. So if they click that, their microphone goes off. Normally, I start a Zoom meeting with everybody muted. In just 15 minutes ago when we were on that call, my computer crashed, and then Sue, I believe it was Sue, logged in, and so she kind of took over as host, and I couldn't mute her, which was really strange. But if you could stay connected to the internet, and I think one of the problems right now is everybody's staying at home, and so they're all on the internet, and so the data processing speed is just being swamped. Anyway, so there's buttons. There's a mute button, and there's a stop video button. When you stop the video button, I'm just going to do this right here now, and you'll see what happens. It gives you a picture. The only reason it gives you a picture of me is because in my Zoom account, I put in a picture of me. So when I stop the video recording, my picture shows up so that everybody knows who they're talking at. If the person didn't put a picture of themselves, in other words, if you've just invited them to a Zoom conference and it's their first time using the program, they're probably not going to have a picture on there. And so all it'll show you is a black screen with their name on it. And if you have multiple people joined you on the Zoom call, there will be a box for everybody with their name on it, because or if they are not using their video, right? And if you're doing a Zoom conference call, like I invited you, that was a Zoom conference call, then you will see a box for everybody who's logged on. And so, and we had 30 people registered for that Zoom call. So there would have been 30 boxes on my screen, which, kind of gets in the way when I'm doing things. And that's the beauty of doing a workshop, a webinar instead of a conference call. With a webinar, you'll have a list of names that you can see. And I'm sorry, what was my lovely and talented assistant is sniggering.
It's because I had the ear plugged in.
Oh, she had the ear plugged in and she couldn't hear me.
It stayed in my ear when I took the rest of it.
Anyways, so the thing about doing a workshop, you need to buy the workshop component, which is $49 a month. And I paid for that for 6 months and used it twice, and so I canceled it. But if I'm going to do more of these, obviously I'm going to have to reinstate it. So let me get on with sharing my screen and showing you the ins and outs of using Zoom. Here we go. So when you share your screen as the host, this is what it's going to look like. This is all the things that I can share. These are the things that are open on my desktop. So right now, I see a frozen picture of myself, and hopefully that's not what it is, but that's what's highlighted. You could do a whiteboard. You could, if you're on your phone, you could share your phone. This is the Zoom, this is my connection to Zoom right now. This is my open browser, so all of the things that are open on my desktop are available for me to share. And I just click down here on the little blue button that says share, and that brings me to my desktop. and then I can show you guys whatever I want to talk about. So let's go to Zoom, and this is my Zoom account, okay? And the first thing that comes up, obviously, is, and this is another thing that you'll notice when you are sharing your screen, there is a little Zoom, whatever you call this, picture of all the people who, like, so if there were 10 people on this call, all 10 people would have a little picture up there, and you'd have to keep moving that around the screen so you could do things. So it gets a little cumbersome, and that's another reasons why you would want to use the webinar feature. You know, pay your extra $49. So when you go to, let me see now, let's go to Zoom pricing, Zoom cost per month. So you've got several options. You can do the free one, which I invited you guys to go ahead and sign up for. And then, or you could do the pro. And the difference between a free account and the pro account is, with a free account, if it's a one-on-one, there's no restrictions. You can do as many one-on-ones a day or a month as you want. And there's no time restriction to a one-on-one. So if there's only 2 people on the call, you can talk for hours. If you have more than 2 people, if you want to talk more than 40 minutes, then you need to upgrade to the pro account. I can't do a workshop in 30 minutes. You might have noticed I am a little verbose. I kind of like to chat. It just makes it, I think, you know, a little bit more entertaining for the people who are watching. So even the 30-minute Dream Builder program, you know, I can't do it in 30 minutes. It takes me about 45. So then that's, you know, you'll just have to figure out whether you can do it in 30 minutes or not. But for $15 a month, it's worth upgrading. And if you don't want the cumbersome problem of having 10 or 20 people on your screen while you're trying to share your, so I did a little, I did a little program where I'm going to share with you some of the things that I can offer you. If I was sharing that and had to move people out of the way all the time so that you could see what's going on, it just doesn't work. So you'll have to make the decision whether you're going to spend an extra $50 a month for the upgrade, and it's worth it. Really, it is. If you are going to be, you know, nowadays it's going to be very, very difficult to get people together in groups. And so we're going to have to learn how to, you know, work around that. There are other platforms, but the costs are pretty much the same. And Zoom, even though it uses a lot of bandwidth, as we saw, you know, with my computer crashing all the time, it's still a very, very good program. Now, one of the things I will mention is I was trying to save that Zoom call to the cloud, and that save failed. Now, my question obviously is, did it fail because my network dropped, or did it fail because of some other glitch, something I didn't press, whatever? When I started that call, it said it was recording. And when you start, well, we'll go into that in a minute here. So here's the pricing, right? And, you know, get the free one, play around with it, do some recordings, you know, call your friends and just chat with them a bit, and just get comfortable with it. So your profile, Let's go back to Zoom, your profile. You've got a personal meeting ID. Um, and generally, I just use the meeting ID that Zoom sets up when I do a meeting. And we'll kind of look at, you know, what the purpose of that is as we go along here. You'll put an email address in if you want to link other accounts for mail purposes. Like right now, this is a Gmail account, but if I wanted to link an Outlook account, I could link an Outlook account, and that way, when I send out invitations, I can send them through Gmail, and so they could use their Google Calendar. And I can also send them through Outlook, so they could use their Outlook calendar, and they would automatically be posted into their Outlook calendar with alerts if they want that, right? The meeting capacity with a pro or with a free account is 100 people, uh, which ought to be enough for you. Maybe not. If you need to upgrade, it's going to be $19 or $20 a month. I think it's $20 a month. You put in your time zone, whether it's Central, Pacific, whatever time zone you're in. If you want to use a 24-hour military time zone time format, I wouldn't recommend that, but you can do that. And then the format, like if I was, like I'm Canadian, so our format is day, month, year. Whereas American format is month, day, year. And I know some of the people who wanted to be on the call today are Canadian. And so you just, I mean, if you're sending out your invitations and there's a Google link, Google will automatically adjust for the time zones. Anyway,